Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to UroNurse. I'm your host, Vic Senese. Glad to have you on board. We're here every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Now, if you're joining us live, you could be watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, or Kick. Welcome to the show. All those things will allow you to send in questions, except for X. For some reason, they don't allow it, but you can send through your comment box any questions that you might have to the show. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're almost at 3,000 subscribers. I mean, we're like a couple away. So, hey, hit that subscribe button, would you? All right. If this is your first time checking us out, be sure to go to our website at uronurse.com. Best place to learn more about the show, learn about our great sponsors, what other episodes we have, other podcasts that I have. Be sure to visit us. And speaking of episodes, this is episode 158. You got 158 episodes to choose from right now. Hey, we know you like to listen in your car. We've heard your complaints. Make sure that we have an audio version. We've got it for you. They mark them audio so you can tell. But go to any of those favorite audio podcasting places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music. All of those will get you the show every week to your box as long as you're subscribed. Hey, we got a new one here. I don't know if any of you checked it out, but this is our first week already of UroNurse News. We premiered it Monday, and we've had 5 episodes. I've seen a lot of viewers coming in, so it's fun to check out. UroNurse News is a little different. It's every weekday at 9 a.m. Central Time, and it's 5 minutes or less, but we're going to go through all sorts of interesting urology and healthcare information. So this week, I've got a great expert panelist, Kim Anderson. She's the Director of Business Development at UI Medical, where she leads efforts to expand access to innovative healthcare solutions like the QUICKCHANGE, the male external urinary incontinence device. With expertise in strategic growth and relationship building, she works closely with healthcare providers to improve patient care, comfort, and dignity. So let's go ahead and welcome her to the stage, along with our expert, Lori Atkinson. Welcome to the stage, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
All right. So everybody kind of knows me because I've already introduced myself. But for those that aren't aware of, maybe you're new to the show, I've been around this whole thing for over 40 years, doing UroNurse for the last 3. And Lori, you've been with me for all 3 of those years. Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Atkinson. I'm a certified urology registered nurse. I have been in urology since 1998. And I currently work for Northwestern Medicine in Winfield and Geneva, Illinois.
All right. And Kimberly, you got a quick story for us, or we go right to your show?
Sure. I'm Kimberly Anderson, and I'm with UI Medical, and we are the manufacturer of the QUICKCHANGE Wrap. And it's one of the newest of urine management devices for male urinary incontinence. And so we're going to be able to show you and demonstrate to you today how this is going to be effective in giving a little dignity to the gentleman, but benefiting not only him as a patient by preventing infection and wounds, but also to the bedside caregiver or he himself, where it's not as physically stressful in applying the wraps, and one person can do it. So I'm glad to be here. We're here in California.
All right. Let's go ahead and bring you on for the full.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate being here. And what we're going to talk about is the QUICKCHANGE Wrap. And I'm going to hold it up here. And you can see that it is a one shape, one size fits all. It is latex free, holds 500 mLs, and it dries to the touch in less than 2 minutes. So in looking at the wrap, it is made with super absorbent polymer beads into the core section here, which is going to absorb all of that urine and moisture and wick it away. It has a very heavy wicking technique also. When you're profiling your patient, this is for minimal to non-ambulatory bedbound and wheelchair-bound patients. And we are going to show you that this one size, this one shape is going to address those that have a shaft, that have little to no shaft retracted, indwelling, and also for bariatric patients where it's actually the genitals are hidden under the pannus and can be actually protecting that pannus as well by using the wraps. This is a great alternative to condom caths and Foley caths, getting rid of your cotties, your UTIs, your macerations on the shafts, and also it can be weighed for I's and O's, just like you do for pediatrics. You can weigh the wrap dry, weigh it soiled, subtract the difference, or use the tear mechanism kind of countertop scales that a lot of the hospitals are using at this time. So what I'd like to do is switch the cameras over here and give you a demonstration. If anything, it'll be the best little Muppet show you ever saw. So what we have here is our little dummy. And we have the waist up here and the feet down here. And we are going to apply the wrap with the print side to the skin. And consider these little wings. Think of them as legs. You want them going in the same direction as the patient's legs, okay? So I'm going to pull the white side up, pull the legs, these wings going in the same direction, right down into the head and the neck of the shaft here. Now, from a relaxed position, you are going to pull the genital right up on the wrap there. And the tip to this is to keep 2 to 3 inches from the head to the top of the wrap. So if he's more well endowed, you're going to slide this down the shaft in order to get that distance. For this gentleman, we'll pull it right down here. Now, you'll notice that there's a point side and a straight edge side. And that's to remind you that you'll always pull the point side first, because on the straight edge side here is your fastener, and that is what's going to hold everything together. Now, it's called the quick change for a very good reason. You're going to be able to change him in less than 60 seconds, and it's only going to take one person to do this. So point side, come straight across the head, align the edges at the top, creating that flat fan shape, hold it in position, take the fastener, pull it taut in the opposite direction, give a quick pinch on the Velcro there, the fastener, and you're done. That's it. There's no lifting, rolling, turning, or repositioning. And remember, this is for incontinence, your slow release, your dribbles. And by keeping that 2 to 3 inches like I showed you, now look how much room you have in the wrap for the urine to migrate. This remains open. And this is why wound care and infection prevention nurses also love this so well, because now you're able to release that heat, that moisture, drive down your MASDs, your IADs, your dermatitis. And as I said before, this is a great way, an alternative to using and overusing catheters and preventing those cauties. Now, you have to keep something in mind too. When you have a patient who's on a Lasix or a diuretic and may be outputting a lot more volume than 500 mLs, you can certainly use another wrap, lay it underneath, again with that second wrap going in the legs going in the same direction as his legs. Take this arch design here and you're just going to pull it over on the top, and the Velcro side, you're just going to pull it tight. There's no skin in the game here, so you can pull it as tight as you want. And what that does is creates a barrier here so nothing can get by. You still have the airflow on the right side here. You keep that open. You still have the airflow and you still have the wicking technique. And the way that this is designed too, it's going to allow the patient to roll left and right if needed. And as you can see, there's no lifting, rolling, turning, or repositioning. So this is going to be far less physically taxing on your bedside caregiver as well. Less staff injury, less linen changes because you're containing the urine up front. You're never allowing it to mix with the feces and go down between the legs or pull under the buttocks and break that skin down. So that is what we had called our standard application. But of course, there are some gentlemen who are retracted, and have little to no shaft, okay? So everything is going to go into the wrap, scrotum, everything. When you're enclosing the scrotums, we suggest that you use a barrier cream or a zinc spray, something to protect the bottom side of the scrotums because it is such thin skin. Now, again, you're going to apply it, again, waist up here, feet down here, with these little legs going in the same direction as his legs. You're going to take the point side. Again, we like to be consistent here. And we're going to swoop under the scrotum. Now, what that does is it allows you to pull everything right up into the wrap. So I'm going to pull it up into that, trying to get in that flat fan shape again, hold it in position, take the straight edge side, pull it taut, and pinch on that fastener again. And there you have it. And what I'm going to do here, for those that you can see, we're going to hold this up and I'm going to show you that the scrotum actually helps hold the head of the fetus right down into the wrap. This again remains open. If you need to put a little piece of tape here, that's fine. You still have the airflow on both sides. What we can give you as a tip also for the gentlemen who have restless legs or move quite a bit, not so immobile, you can pull another wrap into the left side. And I say the left side because you want that fastener up towards the head. I'm going to pull that in, attach it to the wrap. And what this does is going to create somewhat of an anchor and hold it in place. So there are ways to fit this. And always keep in mind too, that when he soils the wrap, if you're using a second wrap or anymore for like when we talk about scrotal edemas, and we'll get to that in a minute, if it's not soiled, you can certainly reuse it again. So it does not have to be sterile. It's just like a diaper or a brief, okay? So when we are looking at this, of course, there are some gentlemen who are have little to no shaft or anything. What you can do also when it's indwelled, okay? This is the only time you're going to put it on upside down, and you're going to put the absorbent side, the white side up, with the little wings, the legs going up towards the head this time. Turn that Velcro down so it doesn't abrade any skin. And you're going to tuck it between the thighs. And what this does is it allows you to capture any urine that runs off. And then take a second wrap with the absorbent side down, lay it over where you think that source of urine is coming from when you can't find them because they're so indwelled. And you're going to just pinch on that fastener to hold it in place. So now you're absorbing urine here and you're capturing urine here. And when you look at it like this, you can see how this works for bariatric patients, where it's up under the pannus and it's creating fungal and yeast infections. Well, I'm going to be very generous here. I just want you to see where the wraps need to belong. But when the pannus is covering the genital area, you or he or someone else will have to help hold that stomach away from the genitals to expose them. The first wrap, you'll pull high into the groin area, again, tucking it between the thighs. And not only is it going to capture the urine, any leakage from the urine between the thighs, it's going to keep those inside thighs from chafing on these big guys. Now, what we'd like you to do is take a second wrap and just complete that circle. So what you've done is completely surrounded that source of urine. And before you release the stomach back down, you'll take the top wrap and just fold it right in half over the genital or over the source of where that urine's coming from. So what you've done now is when the pannus comes down, it's going to hold everything in place for you. So you've accomplished three things here. You've contained the urine at the source, and you prevented it from going down between the thighs. And when that pannus lays down over here too, if you do not have access to the intra-dry, because I know they're kind of costly, and for the home care nurses and such, you can use a second wrap. So if he has that fungal and yeast infection and you have him on a topical for treatment, when that pannus is resting on this wrap here, the absorbent side here is going to be collecting any moisture under that pannus. It's going to allow that topical to be more effective in its treatment as well. Now, the last application that we have here too, before we go into talking about some other things and answering your questions, is when we are talking about scrotal edema, whether it's post abdominal surgeries, because usually when there's any kind of abdominal surgery, a gentleman will experience some sort of scrotal edema. And I'm just going to show you the larger size here too. But what we like to do is separate the skins, contain the urine, and try to elevate that scrotum. So the first wrap, again, we like to be consistent with these little legs going in the same direction. And this big pillow-like thing here is going to be my scrotal edema. You want to keep it from going down between the legs. So you're going to pull this down into the head as far as you can get it. The penis and the head of the penis is usually hidden under the scrotum. Take the second wrap here. We're going to make one big giant quick change. I'm just going to connect it on the opposite side from where I'm working from the patient. So now you have one large. You've got your point side still, and you have your straight edge side. I'm just going to pull this up for educational purposes so that you can see this. And I want to cover that Velcro. So I know he's in excruciating pain right now, and we don't want to move him too much. So I'm just going to gently lift and pull that point just enough to cover that Velcro. When you're looking at this, you want to create that bowl shape. No more MacGyver, MacGyver slings in doing so by using pillowcases and chucks. We're going to show you how to create a sling. I'm going to pull it in opposite directions. Keep a quick pinch on the Velcro there. Pull up the side. This is what I love about the Velcro here. You can readjust, pull it into the base, and I'm going to take this Velcro and just attach it to the outside. So now what I've done is created my bowl. I've contained the urine. I've separated the skin, and I'm going to pull this over so that you can see how it's right into the base there. Now I can take my third wrap or my towel and roll it up on the outside and give him a little elevation. The difference is this is going to remain dry and keep the skin integrity of the skin. When you have to pull the covers up over the patient, in order to protect the scrotum, you don't want to use towels or sheets. They absorb, they don't wick. So you're going to use another quick change, lay it over the top, take the fastener here, and you're going to attach it to the outside. So now it's secure, it's protecting the scrotum. You're still going to get that airflow, but this is also going to absorb the weeping that takes place in the scrotal edema. Okay, so these are our main ways of applying the wraps. And when we are talking about, let me get my stool back here because I'm so short. They're here. So when we were talking about the applications, you're going to see that it's going to save you time. It's going to save you physical stress. It's going to be beneficial to the patient in maintaining the skin integrity. It's going to be a great alternative, as I said, with the catheters, the condom caths, and the indwelling catheters. And we just want to be able to give you as much information as possible to let you know that there are alternatives. And so with that being said, we are in many hospitals. I think we're reaching over 1,000 hospitals now, and skilled nursing facilities and rehab facilities. And that's another point I wanted to bring up, is that because so many wheelchair users are using the wraps now, you'll find that in a hospital setting or in an institutional setting where they're having to go, when the patient is having to go to OT or PT, this is very convenient to apply the wrap while in the supine position so that you can put a mesh brief over the top or a regular brief and move them, transfer them into the chair, the wheelchair. And when they go to that OT and PT and they have that stress incontinence, you're not going to have to wheel the patient all the way back to the room to change him. You're actually going to be able to pull him off to the side, change him, and get right back to work, because everything is going to be up front. Everything is going to be easily accessible, and not having to waste so much time, precious time, nurse's time, patient's time, and get him back to work here. So those are just some tips of the iceberg that we wanted to discuss with you today. And as I said, we are manufactured here in California. We're made in the USA. And in fact, Walmart, a couple of years ago, we entered an open call for best new products made in the USA, and we were voted as one of the winners. And so we are on 1,300 plus Walmart shelves now, in addition to all the institutions for acute care and skilled nursing facilities. We are distributed through Medline. And for consumers and home care and hospice, we can you can order through our website, QUICKCHANGE.com, or call our customer service number, which is 1-800-206-2816. Or you can find us on, as I said, on the shelves of Walmart, on CVS, and you can order us online on both of their e-commerce platforms, or on Amazon.com as well. So one thing I wanted to bring up too is that now we do have our FSS number. So if your patient is a veteran and with a physician's orders, he can certainly order them through the CMOP, their pharmacy, consolidated mail order pharmacy program that they have, and it will be covered it will be covered at 100%. So I'd like to open it up for conversation because I do know that there is probably, I know this is a lot of information to absorb all at once, and no pun intended, but I do want to be able to address any concerns and any questions that you have.
Yeah, that was really great. So I'm going to just kick it off with, so I'm lucky enough to have a sample here. I just kind of pull this over. And the one thing I found interesting is, you know, we've used all sorts of diapers and things, and it's always plasticky, that the outside to keep it from, you know, going into getting other things wet. So I wanted to find out what's the material they're using here, because this doesn't feel like vinyl to me. It's very soft, very compared to the absorbing side too. So
let's start with the inner part of it. The fluff, the pulp, and I have to read this because it's very precise. It's made up of a cellulose pulp and water. Okay, and then the polymer beads I told you about that are in the core that are activated on bodily temperature fluid, that is actually the super absorbent polymer beads. Okay, so the top sheets, both front and back, are of a hydrophilic top sheet, which is a combination of polypropylene and less than 2% filled with additives and coloring agents, meaning for this print side on this side that does not touch the skin. And then the back sheet here that goes against the skin that is the waterproof is a thin laminate back sheet of polyethylene and polypropylene with natural calcium carbonate and additives. I'm glad I got that down.
You need a degree in chemistry to tell you to read it, but other than that, it's amazingly soft. That's what I was kind of surprised by.
It is, and when it's soiled too, it contains, or it remains in that soft, flexible, pliable feeling of it. So, and you know, and a patient, you're going to know when to change these. They blow up just like a high-end baby's diaper. Okay. So he may feel the bulk, he may feel the warmth, but after 2 minutes, it will be dry to the touch. Yep. And that's where it comes into the Mayo Clinic. If you're interested in reading about the Mayo Clinic study, it is on our website. And when they trialed it on their patient base, only 9 of the trialing patients did not use the quick change, and all 9 of them, 100%, got a hospital-acquired pressure injury. Wow. So when they used the wrap, 0 patients using the wrap got a happy or an IAD. Okay. Great. So that proves to the efficacy of this.
And if you're looking for the website for Quick Change, you can go to UroNurse. They're on our website. They're one of our sponsors. So you just click, it'll take you right over to their website. Absolutely. Lori, have you been familiar with this at all? Have you seen it before?
Not at all. I think it's great. It's nice to hear that it's like at Walmart, you know. But one thing that I found the whole time I'm listening to this, I can think of patients, you know, obviously that can use it. Right. But I also, Vic, if you can appreciate this, I think they would be great in the office setting where we have patients who were either doing a voiding trial or or we do bladder installations for bladder cancer, that they have to sit there and sometimes they spasm. And it would be so nice to not have those blue chucks or whatever kind of chucks you use, because we're piling them around them, making sure, you know, that this thing would be great to put around somebody who's even got a catheter in, who we have to do some sort of treatment on that we know is going to spasm.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Lori, too, we've had urologists call us because they'll use them for like some patients with post-TURP procedures. And we even had an interest recently of for when they have prosthetic biopsies. And what they've been doing through this new procedure of biopsy is to take the testicles and the shaft and tape them away from the biopsy part area.
Yeah, I think those for transperineal and for spacer, if you're not, you know, if you're familiar with spacer, where you have to get everything out of the way. Yeah.
Right. So they were looking at this to use this instead of having to put adhesive on the body and on the sensitive tissue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
that's great.
We do have a comment or a question that came in from Susie Swain. Can patients wear this product while being active, or is it for bed only?
It's for the non-ambulatory. So we do have home users, private home users that have ordered directly from us that have shared experiences with us where they're able to tuck it in their briefs and put their pants over the top if they're just going from like the bed to the chair. But things move, and because we have it in the upward position, when a gentleman moves, everything shifts constantly. So I'm not quite sure how much mileage you can get out of that. You can certainly try it, but basically it's for those that are like in a chair or in bed.
Yeah, that's great. I really
Yeah.
like the demonstration you were doing for scrotal edema, using it for that. Now, one of
Right.
the times I was on, we went to our patients in the hospital were scattered throughout the hospital. We didn't have a urology floor, and somebody ended up in orthopedics. If you're familiar with orthopedics, every bed has a trapeze over it. And this guy had weeping scrotal edema. So what
Oh,
they did is they put this sling around his scrotum and then hung it from the trapeze to kind of get it up and get some air, circulating underneath. I
yeah.
mean, it's the craziest thing, but I'm thinking of your device because a lot of times with that edema, you get, some kind of leakage there too. So
Right.
it's ideal to keep it dry.
Right. Absolutely. And nurses are very creative. We've watched them make ball gowns out of chucks. So,
Yeah.
um, there's so many off brochure usages as well that nurses have shared with us with, putting them under for leaky trachs, heavy drillers, around stomas, when you're changing those patches
Yeah.
and bags, those, the stomas, when you put pressure on that abdomen, when you're trying to do the cleaning, you're trying to get the old adhesive off and get it nice and dry to apply a new patch and bag. What we've been able to use I call this the little magic keyhole, because I just wrap it around the edge of the stoma and then cover the top of the stoma. And it'll even absorb that thick mucus that accompanies with bacterial urine when you're dealing with the ileostomies and such. So it has been a game changer in being able to just put the flap over, absorb everything, pull the second layer over the top of that one so that you can get to the second side. So by the time you've done all four sides, you have a nice, clean, dry surface area so that when you do put that new patch and bag on, you're going to get more longevity out of that product as well. And they're not cheap. So we're trying to, work with customers to save them money when they're working with their ostomy bags and such. But any
And speaking of cost, what's the cost on Quick Change?
on our website, depending on who you or if your patient likes these, let's say, and they work very well, I would suggest that they go directly to our website and get on a monthly subscription of one case per month. It automatically ships to them one case, and that case will get them through 28 days based on the fact that the average gentleman will go through 5 in a 24-hour period.
Wow.
If that's the case, it's going to drop down to just over $1 a piece, maybe even less. It depends on where it's being shipped to as well. I believe Walmart now has it. Gosh, I wish I was more privy on the prices for retail, because it does change every week almost.
Oh yeah.
I think they're anywhere from $1.10 to $1.20, let's say.
And where are these manufactured?
In Redlands, California. We're made in the USA.
USA, baby, no tariffs.
Yes, we are.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, we're very happy about that.
Yep.
And so we've got a great team. But as I was telling you, through acute care, the hospitals, Medline would be your distributor. That's not to say that Owens and Minor and Cardinal and McKesson, they'll all buy from Medline to distribute as well. So, but again, if you're home health care and hospice, now coverage, let's talk about the insurance coverage. As I said, with the vets, it's at 100% if they have a physician's order. And what we do have too, for those that have commercial insurance, on our website, at the very bottom of the web page, there's a resource section. And under there, it says Medicaid and insurance. when you go to there, about 3/4 of the way down that page, there'll be a prior authorization form that the primary care or the urologist specialist doctor can fill that out. We've provided every single ICD-10 code that would cover medical necessity and just check off the boxes, and an area that you can put what's tried and failed, meaning like can't use an indwelling catheter, too many COTIs and UTIs, can't use a condom cap because it gives me macerations on the shaft, or it is doesn't fit and it leaks constantly or falls off. So we've provided you every tool that you'll need just to have the doctor check off, fill in the information, attach his notes, and send it off to the authorization department for that particular person's insurance company. So we try to provide as many tools as we can. In some states, Medicaid will cover portions of it in percentages, but we're working really diligently to try to find a way to get CMS to hopefully cover this and looking at it as a preventative measure of infection, instead of just being a diaper or a pad or a brave.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
Yeah, great. One of the things I noticed is while you were giving your explanations of all the different ways to utilize this, I had my sample. I was at a local trade show and they gave me one of these. It was very nice. And so I'm trying to practice. I'm thinking, and you're going through a lot of them. And then I looked at the back of the bag and everything.
Yep.
Everything you need to know.
We have videos, full instructional, very comprehensive videos, very short, quick videos that we've translated also into QR codes. And so when we do go and we do educate staff members, or we do educate the public, or we have group settings of such, you're never without an educational tool. Written instruction on the back of the packaging, user guides that we provide, our website, the videos, YouTube, all of that. We have a dear girl that uses bananas and tomatoes on Instagram because you cannot be too graphic, right? And so it's like wrapping the banana. Don't forget to include the tomatoes. And then you've got the little tiny little jalapeno for representing retraction and stuff. So it's really kind of cute. And you should check those out on Instagram. Just go to QUICKCHANGE. And but it's a fun product. It's a product that you can believe in. You can feel comfortable in it. And once you learn the applications for the scenario that you're dealing with, the challenge that you're dealing with, it is what everybody says on our website. And if you look at the testimonials of proven buyers, that it is a game changer. Okay. It's like quick change, game change. It really is.
Yeah. I think Lori, as we were kind of going through some of the, talking about this already, you're thinking of ideas for other uses.
Oh, absolutely. I got all these ideas going on. I want to know how you got that sample, Vic. I'd like to.
So I was in Schaumburg at the Abilities Conference. I go to these things anyway, just to kind of see what people are out there, what they're making that are urology based, for the show. And I saw him and I said, hey, by the way, I knew at this time Kimberly had already agreed to be on the show. So they gave me a sample to take, and I've been playing with it since. So,
well, I know I'll be looking at my Walmart today, I'm sure. While I'm there.
Are you able to get samples?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And, any nurses, just go to the professional tab on our page too and submit a request for samples. We'll send them out. But Lori, we'll talk after the show and I'll get your address. And we'll get some to you as well so that you can look at. But I'd love to pick your brain, Lori, also, because you had some great ideas there too that I'd like to see if we can.
I think you're going to see a lot of people coming up with ideas just by getting this on this show. The other thing is you had mentioned, we were talking before the show started, that you will be at the SUNA conference coming up in Louisville.
Yes, in October. I think it's the 10th through the 13th. And we have a booth there, and we will be demonstrating and allowing hands-on so that you can feel comfortable using it and everything. But we'll be giving away free sample packs as well, usage guides, sample packs, everything. So, so we're very excited, and we were just I think we go to 2 SUNA shows a year, and the annual one, and then of course the ones here in California when they're here. So, yeah. very much.
Maybe we'll talk you into coming to Chicago for our local conference that we have in Lisle. We do a
Would love
conference every
it.
year too.
Would
We've
love
got
it.
some comments here from Nisha, who happens to be from California. Very
Oh,
informative. Thank you. And then
wonderful.
she said, for others, my local medical supplies rep gave her samples. So she was able to get it from the
Oh,
local
that's
supply
good.
rep. That was nice
Good.
to know. It was either Byram or 180 Medical.
In fact, I met Byram at we were next to each other at the SUDA conference up in Sacramento. Yeah, it was great. Now, the one thing I want to let those that know that work in a hospital setting or a skilled nursing facility or something, if you want to do a trial to bring them into your facility, we have educators all over the US, and we will provide an educator for 2 consecutive days to come out and educate your entire staff, both day and night shift, or if you're on the 3 8-hour shifts as well. And we will provide a case of wraps per unit trialing or per floor trialing. Anything over 30 beds on a floor, we'll provide 2 trial cases so that you have everything. We provide a very concierge type of education services. We work very closely with whoever the lead is, on-site contacts, and we do all the credentialing and everything that we need to as a vendor, but we work very closely, and we are at their beck and call during those 48 hours that we're there.
Yeah. Oh, great. How long has Quick Change been around? I don't know if you mentioned that.
Well, I think they started rolling it out in 2018 after a couple of years of, prototypes and such, and getting it to the right perfect shape and size. And we have been hitting the pavement since, I started in 2018. So maybe it was even as early as the second half of 2017.
Yeah.
And
still fairly new.
Fairly new, yes, but we're in all of probably 90% of the top 50 IDNs in the nation. We're in the Cleveland Clinic, Johns Hopkins. We're in several children's hospitals. We're just trialing now at the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital in Florida. We're in all of the Kaisers, or when I say all of them, meaning on their ordering. They have established accounts and are ordering. HCA, Sarasota, a lot of them have started incorporating the Quick Change into their algorithm for the non-ambulatory patients and where it goes from here. Because quite frankly, I know everybody's concern is these COTIs and the overuse of catheters. And
Absolutely.
As I said, unless they've got a blockage and they have to be catheterized, this is such a great alternative. And I mean, if I was a gentleman and I had a choice between the 2, I think I'd try the Quick Change Wrap first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very new, and it's very different. So, you'll have patients that will possibly sometimes say, "Oh, I don't know, what is this?" Because it is so new. And they'll say, "Oh, no, I don't want it." But what I would say to them is, well, we could catheterize you, or we could just try this one time and see how it works. And when they have that choice of, oh, catheterize, or let me try it once, and then they fall in love with it afterwards because it is soft, it's non-encumbersome, and it's and it really does work. Yeah.
Well, and as Lori can, I'm sure, tell you too, patients that wear catheters a lot of times get spasms from wearing a catheter. So it's not a leak-free system just because you have a catheter. And I could even see some patients who have to have a catheter and are experiencing bladder spasms. One of the worst parts is you got a catheter and you're wet. So it's really terrible. So something like this would be a way of trying to control that urine too. So
and that's a good point, because these work very well with when they are using a catheter and they are having leakage, whether it's at the stat stop, is that what it's called?
Stat lock, yeah.
Stat lock. And in other areas too, because this lays very comfortably underneath it, and this will absorb, but it'll also protect the skin from any kind of damage from the rubbing of the stat lock and the hoses and such. So we have a few EDs that are using this. Not a few EDs. We have several EDs that are using it, but a few of them have nicknamed it the strap, wrap, and roll, because when they're triaging, this saves them time where they can just pull it off the shelf and use it and not have to worry about getting the hose, getting the suction, getting the adhesives and such. And so it's been a real game changer for them as well. I know when during COVID, and we were one of the few products that were considered medical necessity, and we were able to go into the hospitals and share this technique with them. The EDs were over the moon because they did not have time in their triaging. They were packed constantly. So this was a great alternative, and it provided a dry patient upon admit, if they're being shipped up to MedSurg or ICU or wherever, that they're able to arrive dry and not have to be worrying about that. You know, they've got a million other things to worry about admitting that patient and getting them settled in bed, rather than worrying about urine leakage.
Yeah.
So that's been
have they measured the volume that this will hold?
500 mLs, right? Very comfortably, it'll hold 500 mLs. We had a nurse in Greeley up at Banner who, when we were trialing it up there before they implemented, she was like, oh yeah, sure, right. So she was with one of the ED doctors on a break, and they took one of the wraps, and you just slowly release warm water on it, bodily temperature fluid water, and they literally got almost 2,000 milliliters into the wrap before it just couldn't take anymore because it was at full capacity. So I do know that the 500 mLs is being a little conservative, but we can definitely.
At a good point, if you want to play with this at home, and you got to use warm water because those beads are activated by body temperature, so normal urine temperature. So don't come back and say, hey, quick change, I only got 200 cc's of cold water in here. I tried to soak up my pool and it wouldn't soak it all up or whatever.
Right. But I have to tell you, Vic, you said that you had gone to the Abilities Expo, and I have to share this really cute story. I hope you have time, but
sure.
When we were at the Scottsdale Phoenix show one year, they had it was when they were kicking off the pro football wheelchair teams. And they actually had names like the Cardinals and the Raiders and all this kind of stuff. And it was really cool because one of the guys that was one of the players, one of the pro players and the wheelchair players, they were wheeling by the booth. They're like, what is this? And I showed him what it was. And he's like, oh my gosh, can I have some now? And I said, yes. And he went back to the game. They were showing exhibit games, trying to get people interested in professional wheelchair football. And he actually was wearing it. And he came back and he said, this is great. And he brought like half his team with him because what they were using, it was easy for them because they would just put a blanket over their lap on the sidelines instead of having to leave the game to change their pants. They just had it on and just put a blanket over their lap and was able to actually change the wrap with just some people standing around them. It was humorous, but exciting for them because it saved them 20 minutes, and that same show, they have the service dogs. And there's a service dog in training, a puppy, German Shepherd, or one of those that look like a German Shepherd. I'm not quite know the name of it. But anyway, they came by the booth, and apparently they hadn't taken him outside for a while. And he literally piddled right in front of our booth. And I grabbed a whole pack of it, and I just threw him on the ground, and I had it cleaned up. And I wasn't even paying attention. I just didn't want anybody to slip. And I look around, and they're like, I couldn't have asked for a better commercial. Seriously, it was just too funny. It was really funny, but anyway, so
well, Kimberly, it's really been great having you on the show. I think that your demonstration is huge because when I first saw the product, I mistakenly had it the wrong direction. I didn't think it went down when I was looking to put it on. So your explanation really kind of enlightened me as far as how it goes. And
and when you think about it, gravity, you want to go under and pull it up or what, but if you do it our way and you keep it in the upright position and you contain that urine up front, it's not going to leak. It's not going to go down between the thighs. It's not going to pull under the buttocks, and you want to keep it separate from the feces.
Yep. So, well, it's been a great show. I'm going to give a little preview for what's coming up next week.
Are you or someone you care about struggling with frequent urination, weak stream, or waking up multiple times a night to pee? These are just some of the signs of benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, a common yet often misunderstood condition affecting millions of men. In this powerful and practical episode of UroNurse News, host Vic Senese sits down with Dr. Wayne Kwong, founder of the Man-V's Prostate Crusade, to deliver insights that empower the bladder in its fight against an enlarged prostate. Learn what's really happening when the bladder battles the prostate, and how to take back control. Dr. Kwong breaks down innovative approaches to managing BPH, explains why bladder health is often overlooked. Share proactive steps men can take to live better, pee stronger, and sleep longer. Join us on August 16th at 9 a.m. Central Time to learn more.
So yeah, you don't want to miss next week's episode. If you haven't seen Dr. Kwong talk about BPH, he has such passion about the subjects. He's wrote a whole book on that, and he lectures all over the country on it. He's got his own podcast, and he's really, really a passionate speaker. He's been on our show before, and I said, hey, you just got to come back, do some updates for us, let us know what's new and exciting in your life, because he's really interesting person to have on the show. So you remember him, Lori, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's the guy who had the, I shouldn't give it away, the cowboy hat, because that's his whole key. But anyway, join us next week. It's been a pleasure, Kimberly, having you on the show. Yeah. Lori, always great to have you on the show. We'll see everybody next week on uronurse.com.